Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I am your crazy host, Tiffany, and we are doing another episode as part of the super popular Get Unblocked series, managing your anxiety and business overwhelm so you can think clearly and get stuff done. If you're new to the show or new to the series, you can go on any podcast listening platform or on my website, ProjectMeWithTiffanyCarter.com, and you can go and look and scroll for the episodes that are in brackets. It'll say Get Unblocked series before the title. If you want to binge these alone, I usually recommend binging these if you're losing your damn mind. If you're spinning out, you feel stuck, you don't know what to do. And my goal for you in this episode is for you to stop using overwhelm as a permission slip to do nothing. And we got to just be real with ourselves. I've done it many times too. That used to be a go-to where I would subconsciously do things, say yes to about a million things when I didn't need to, overcommit myself, do all these things on my to-do list. I would get myself so spun out, I'd be overwhelmed, and then I would end up freezing, doing nothing, say screw it all, and get 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's. Do you guys know my Ben & Jerry's lie that I've been telling myself for years? I mean, I know Ben & Jerry's ice cream's available all over the world. I know the Magnum bars are. Those of you who are world travelers or my listeners and outside the US, which a lot of you are outside the US, there's certain products that you can find in any country. I mean, obviously like Coca-Cola, Pringles, that nasty ass chocolate. Is it Tollerbone? Is that what it's called? Tollerabone? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like in a shape of a triangle, like a long triangle. And you can like break pieces off. Tollerbone. I don't know. You guys will let me know in the DMs if I'm saying it right. There's certain foods that are literally everywhere you can get. And the Magnum ice cream bars for whatever reason. I mean, I've been in like remote islands where you can get a Magnum ice cream bar and that nasty ass Tollerbone chocolate bar. I'm sure I'm not saying it right. We're not surprised, but you know what I'm talking about. We are doing charitable giving for December, and you guys get to participate. So for every 5-star written podcast review of the ProjectME with Tiffany Carter show in the month of December, I will be donating $20 to Children of the Night. Children of the Night is one of my prime charities that helps rescue children, teens, and adults from sex trafficking. They have safe houses and obviously undisclosed areas to help prevent these people from going back into sex trafficking with their pimps. They get therapy, they get loved on, they get medical attention and treatment that is long overdue and needed. They get drug detox because most all of these women and children are being involuntarily drugged. It's one way of these pimps being able to control them, and then they're addicted to the drugs, and then they can't leave because of that. So all you have to do is leave a 5-star written iTunes review, and I'll be donating $20 for everyone who does that to Children of the Night. And of course, I will be sharing inside my Instagram and Facebook stories. I'll be sharing where we're at on the contribution meter for the month of December. If you're not sure how to leave a written Apple podcast review, you can simply Google it and it will tell you. It's very simple. but you have to pay attention where it says write a review. It's not like instantly obvious, but it would take you at the most 90 seconds. So make sure you put your name or your Instagram handle in the review and then DM me after, preferably with a screenshot. If you forget, it's okay. It makes it easier for us to cross-reference. And then we will be shouting you out in my social media, in my email list, and all the things as saying thank you for donating to Children of the Night and helping rescue women and children out of a multi-billion-dollar industry of sex trafficking that is very much underserved. There are way more resources going to battling drug and cartel stuff, and not enough in rescuing people who are being enslaved and their bodies being used and them being tortured. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm so passionate about making a crap ton of money, because the more money I make, the more I can use my platform and use my resources to help other people who are in positions where they're being victimized and they can't help themselves. So I'm really excited for you guys to participate with me in that. So let's talk about how you lose your mind on the regular, and let's get you back to thinking clearly. So here's the deal. You are going to lose your mind often growing a business, going after any goal of yours, but especially a business. There's nothing like starting a business or growing a business, whether you are, an affiliate seller in network marketing, you're a coach, you're an accountant, you're a doctor. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. There is nothing like growing a business than to bring out every insecurity and every fear you've ever had, usually all at once. And that pattern of getting yourself into an overwhelmed state is what we need to address. Because once you're already overwhelmed, that's much harder to manage once you're already there. The best way to stop and prevent and manage getting to that level of anxiousness to where you just want to hop on a plane and disappear forever, or you want to quit, or you just want to say screw it all, is to look at what you're doing and not doing leading up to it. So if you're feeling those like anxious, like you're plugged into an electrical socket feeling, you have racing thoughts, you get sweaty, your throat gets constricted. When you're in an anxious state, it's because you've been overgiving. You have not had enough being poured into you. You've just been pouring out, right? You've just been putting so much out there and there's nothing left to give. And you're really out of balance with nurturing yourself, with filling your own cup back up. And as a habit and a learned behavior that so many of us have is that we kind of we don't have intentions around making sure we're being nurtured and properly cared for. Yeah, maybe we eat healthy, maybe we work out, maybe we take a bath, maybe we actually wash our hair, right? We do stuff like that, but it's intentional and we're actually checking in with ourselves with that balance. Anytime you're feeling an extreme emotion of anything, you're completely out of balance. And it's typically in this state, it's because you're overgiving. Now, I am diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and full disclosure, I am medicated for it. So this is not a medical episode. I am not giving medical advice. And I am not speaking to the kind of anxiety where you actually have neuroreceptors that need to be dealt with. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about. I still have to use all these tools I'm talking about today to help prevent from my anxiety going to that spun out overwhelm state. Because I'm already diagnosed with it, I can go there much faster and much easier than someone who isn't. So I just wanted to be clear. And I also want to say this, which is probably going to piss some people off, and that's fine. Nothing new around here. When I say stuff to you, it's for the greater good. It might not be always what you want to hear, but it's because I love you and it's stuff I wish was said to me, even though I might not have liked it at the time. I used to use the fact that I have anxiety as kind of a crutch. I'd be like, well, I have anxiety and I also have depression too. So it's like, I have anxiety. I have clinical depression. I'm, medicated for it. Like, what am I supposed to do? It's just everything's too much for me sometimes. Like I get panic attacks. And not to say there isn't some fact to it, but using it and creating a story around it and kind of just leaning on that versus actively and deliberately setting my life up, my days up to help prevent from making it worse is bullshit. So some of you use like your ADHD as a crutch. I mean, every fucking millennial apparently has anxiety and ADHD now. And I'm not saying you're not absolutely diagnosed, but just be careful of using some of these things as a crutch, as is it an scapegoat, like goat, like an animal? Or is it like a different word? Is it a scapegoat? I'm not sure. And I don't know if I want to multitask and look it up. A scapegoat? Why isn't it a scapegoat? Or is it like spelled differently, like GOTE? Listen, thank God you do not have to be super book smart to be a millionaire, because otherwise I would be in a lot of trouble. I'd be living in a tent. All right. So I want you to take a look at your patterns and look at it not in like self-judgment or shame, like, oh, I can't believe I do this. I'm an idiot. I don't know why I do this. That's going to just cause more of the anxiety and overwhelm. Let's break it down and make it more simple. What have you been saying yes to lately? This is the exercise. What are things, people, places, and things you've been saying yes to lately? Let's even look at the last month. When we say yes to things, we're also saying no to other things, okay? Let me say that again. When we're saying yes to things and committing to things, we're also saying no to other things. We're prioritizing things when we say yes to them. And they can be great, but saying yes to stuff, people say, oh, always just say yes. I think there's even a book on it. No, that's called codependency. If you can't say yes to everything, you can't do it all. Even if you want to do it all, it's a setup. It's actually a form of subconscious self-sabotage, even though you have good intentions. It's people pleasing. You can't, it's called priorities for a reason, right? If everything was your priority and you have 10 priorities and nothing's really prioritized, right? Like, well, then which of your priorities are priorities? It gets very weeded, confusing, which then spins you out into overwhelm. So what have you been saying yes to lately? Have you been saying yes to a lot of stuff with family? Have you been saying yes to a lot with kids? Have you been saying yes to a lot with doing extra things, helping clients? Have you been saying yes to social gatherings? Have you been saying yes to more favors? Just take a look at what you've been saying yes to. Then I want you to take a look at what have you been saying no to? What are things you've been saying no to? Now, when I say you're saying yes or no, I don't mean you've actually verbally said, I commit, I'm saying yes, I'm coming, I'm doing the thing. You can say yes or no to things in your actions, right? What are you signing up for in your actions? What are you not signing up for? This is the law of polarity I talk about in the law of attraction. So whatever you're signing up for, whatever action you're taking, there's an equal action that you're not taking. And I'm not trying to have you label it as right or wrong. It's just facts. So what are you saying no to in your words and in your actions? Where are you not showing up for yourself? Are you putting your physical health on the back burner in the last month or 3 weeks? So then what are you saying no to by kind of putting that on the back burner? You're neglecting your body and your well-being. And what are you saying yes to instead? Well, I've been saying yes to going out more, with friends and doing stupid shit around the house. So, okay, let's not judge it, but take a look at what are you saying yes to, and then what are you saying no to? Because it's out of balance, or you wouldn't be feeling so overwhelmed. And it's a very slippery thing that happens because, like I said, you probably are in a pattern where you end up getting yourself worked into a tizzy And then it gives you a permission slip to do nothing. Or if you're at all like how I used to operate, Tiffany 1.0, and this was all subconscious, by the way. Thank God for having coaches and therapists, or I would not have recognized it. Is I would get myself so exhausted, so overcommitted, so depleted in so many areas, so overwhelmed, so anxious, and then my body would crash and I would get sick. And then that's when I would actually nurture myself. It was in a forced nurturing moment because I'd be so sick. I'd have a sinus infection, strep throat, stomach flu, you name it. I would get it every 5 weeks. I get something. And I even had a story around that. I would say, oh, I have a weak immune system. What a horrible thing to keep putting out in the universe. But I even had that story. And everyone around me believed it because I was always sick. I was making myself sick because that was the only time that I gave myself full permission to pour into myself and nurture myself. And then I'd go back into the cycle again. Then I'd go back to doing all the things at work, all the things for other people, burning the candle at both ends until then 5 weeks later, I was down again. Some of you, it might show up in the form of getting migraines. Some of you might get stomach upset. Some of you might get UTIs. It comes in the form of so many different things. It's so tricky, which is why I'm pointing this out to you, because that's the only time that we let ourselves off the hook and give ourselves permission to get a break. You know how they say, if you've done any kind of like fitness classes or spin classes, by the way, like who else still says spin? Thank you. I mean, I know it's cycle because spin is trademarked, but it's like spin, cycle. I mean, I like saying spin. I try to say cycle, but like, because I want to sound like hip to the skip, but like it's spin. Anyway, but if you're in a fitness class, right, you'll hear the instructor often say like, make sure you hydrate before you're thirsty. Because if you wait till you're thirsty to hydrate, it's too late. Basically, like now you're chasing a problem versus getting ahead of it. That's what we're doing with anxiety and overwhelm. We don't want to be chasing the problem and remedying the problem once it's there. You already are at that point of overwhelm. I would rather prevent you from getting there or it being as intense, right? To say you'll never get there is bullshit. But I'd rather prevent you from getting there as intensely or even sometimes, not getting there at all by doing maintenance ahead of time. So drinking that water for yourself. But it first starts with you taking a non-judgmental, unbiased look at your patterns and what you've been saying yes to. What have you been saying no to? I want you to ask yourself, what is it I really need right now? And in a unapologetic, willing to sound selfish way. Take away all the responsibilities you've told yourself that you have, how busy you are. I mean, it's amazing. I've never met one woman on the planet who doesn't think she's the busiest woman on the planet. Thank you. And there's some badge of honor with busy, and I used to wear it too. It was like the busy badge, because if I was busy, then I'm being productive, and then I'm, a great contributor to society, and I matter, and I have important things going on. And if you really are going after your goals and living a big life, you've got to be busy. It's bullshit. Why do you think I love the word luxuriate? I am not busy. I'm a luxuriator. I don't want to be busy. I want to be easy and breezy and do whatever the hell I want when I want. That doesn't mean I don't have moments where I have more going on than others, but I've removed that busy badge. I don't need to be busy for me to be worthy of making a lot of money, for me to have a lot of success. I don't need to earn the right to rest. And that's what a lot of you are doing with the busy badge. And even the hyper productivity, hyper tasking crap, it's like you're earning the right to rest. So you'll rest and you'll feel like you've had a great day once you've done 85 things, and now you've earned the right to rest, or now you've earned the ice cream, or now you've earned the plate of pasta. We don't need to earn the right or rest. We don't need to earn the right to rest. It's our birthright. It's required. In fact, it's oftentimes the most productive thing you can do. Our most creative ideas come from from moments of luxuriating and rest. Haven't you noticed that? When you're in the car and you actually have to focus on the road, when you're in the shower, when you're going for a walk right after the gym, in a yoga class. It's actually one of the most productive things we can do, and we don't need to earn it. It needs to be part of your plan. And if you're someone who likes to-do lists like my Virgo ass, well, then I want to see rest in there. Because you don't have it in there. You don't have a really solid plan going. You have a plan set up to get you to overwhelm, to get that permission slip to do nothing. Everything we do on repeat, hear me on this, everything we do on repeat has a payoff or we wouldn't do it. Even stuff we know is bad for us. Even I was going to tell you guys before, reminding some of you who've heard me share this on the show, the lie I tell myself with Ben & Jerry's ice cream. It's really any ice cream that has chunks of things in it, chunks of candy, cookie dough, toffee, pecans, whatever the hell it is. I like my ice cream to be full of things. And the lie I've told myself since the beginning of time is that I will get 2 pints, 2 different flavors. If we're really curious of my 2 favorite, it's chocolate chip cookie dough and it's Chunky Monkey. And then I will pick out with a spoon, which ends up getting very messy, all the bits and just eat the bits inside the ice cream and then leave the ice cream part there. And therefore, I can't be possibly consuming that many calories because I'm not eating all the ice cream parts. I'm just eating the bits. Wildness right here. Wildness right here, people. Oh, and I still do it to this day. That's fun. That's so fun. So I want you to really be intentional about how you're setting up your day. Am I setting it up to where is this going to lead me to overwhelm? Is this going to lead me to dehydration? Or is this going to leave me to feeling hydrated? And what am I doing to make sure that I keep myself accountable? Because, it's a habit for me to not drink water in the day and I get distracted. Okay, so what are things you can do to make sure you drink water? You have the jug next to you. You set notifications in your phone. You put a rubber band around your finger. Whatever. Right? Things that matter, we find a way, we prioritize making sure we come up with ways to keep us accountable. So what are things that you can do to keep you accountable to make sure that you incorporate rest in your day? That's really so much more important than you realize to your health, to your cortisol levels, to your creativity, to your mental clarity, to you not being cunty to your family. That's my new favorite word, by the way, is cunty. Man, I can be so cunty if I'm tired. You want to see me at my worst? It's when I'm not resting and I'm overgiving. Really. And this busy badge is bullshit. It doesn't work. I used to wear it too. It's just not true. If you want to work less and make more, if you want to have a life that is actually fun and feels enjoyable and playful, but still be able to make money in your pockets of your day, then you have to be willing to let go of this busy badge. You have to be willing to not take these patterns that you've probably done your whole life, or at least for many, many years. You have to be willing to let go of these walking into 2022, because if you take this stuff into 2022 with you, you're just going to have more of the same. And that's not to say you're not going to have to still work at it. I still have to have people, places, and things in place so that I don't slip back into old patterns, because I can slip into this pattern of getting so exhausted and worn out. And back to the whole thing where I was saying to you, we don't do anything on repeat that doesn't have a payoff, even stuff that's not good for us, like picking out the Ben & Jerry's, right? Blowing off working out, not drinking water, overcommitting, saying yes to things that we really mean no to. There's a payoff in everything we do. There's a payoff for people who smoke cigarettes, even though they know it's bad, right? What's the payoff that you're getting by doing all of these things? It could be that it just eventually gives you the permission slip to say screw it all and do nothing. It could make it to where you end up being a martyr. It could give you permission to be cunty. I want you to take a look at what is your payoff for doing these behaviors and getting into an anxious, overwhelmed spin out. What's the payoff? The payoff for me for getting myself in that spot is that I let myself off the hook for all responsibilities for an entire day. And there's some kind of a high that I get from that. Now, the payoff for me not getting there is much greater. But in order to not get there, I have to be willing to let go and change these patterns of drinking the water before I'm thirsty, resting before I need it, incorporating more play and fun into my life before I'm starved of it. Not waiting until all the warning signs and the flares are going off before I give it to myself. Not waiting till my stomach is growling with hunger pains to eat, right? We know that's not good for our metabolism. So I don't want you doing that with rest. So keep looking at that analogy, because I know you guys like analogies when it comes to water, right? Most of you who are in this state right now are so freaking dehydrated. Okay, so what are we going to do to stay hydrated? And really commit, and don't commit to 85 things. That's another setup for self-sabotage. Let's commit to 3 things you're going to do to stay energetically and mentally hydrated going through the rest of December, going into 2022. What are 3 things you can commit to? And they don't need to be complex. In fact, I don't want them to be. It's the simple changes that make the biggest difference. Just keep it really simple. Maybe it's that you are blocking a little more of your day just for me time. For me, I don't do shit on Fridays. Friday is a free fun day. I get to do whatever the hell I want on Friday. I take myself on a date on Fridays, and I look forward to Fridays. What I've been doing recently, because I've been feeling a little more overwhelmed and anxious, so I was like, I just need more, and I've not been feeling as creative, and I need more free creative time. So I've been blocking more of my schedule and being more intentional with it. I've actually even been waking up earlier, so I end my day earlier, so I can do more fun things and more abundance walks and build Legos and do fun things with all the million sticker packs I have and really delighting my inner child. I'm hydrating myself. So how are you going to hydrate yourself? Not just this season, which is very important, but hydrating yourself going forward into 2022. Because when we nurture ourselves in this way, everything becomes easier. Wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you so much. Don't forget to go right now, otherwise you'll procrastinate on it, to leave a 5-star written iTunes review of the podcast. If you don't know how to do it, Google it on how to leave a written Apple Podcast review. Put your name or Instagram handle inside the review. Take a screenshot, DM me on Instagram with it. And for every single person who does this, I'll be donating $20 to Children of the Night for the month of December. Thank you so much for supporting this charity, for being such a great listener. I appreciate all of you guys so much. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.